All right, what's going on, guys? So, wanted to talk about nutrition here real quick, and talking about how are you able to fit your macros into what you are trying to do. And we all know that nutrition is going to be like a really big part of your goals. It's because if you're not eating properly outside of the gym, everything inside the gym is basically going to be contradictory to what you are trying to do. And so everything kind of needs to flow in the same way of, the goals that you've got. So if you've got someone that's trying to put on a little bit of size, of course your macros are going to need to be higher. If you got someone that's wanting to lose weight, then you of course need to be in a deficit. So understanding how to implement those type of meals and how to really calculate what needs to be eaten at a specific time is relatively important. And so just to kind of give you an example, to talk a little bit more about assumptions. We all know that as far as calories go, there's going to be about 4 calories in 1 gram of protein. There's going to be about 9 calories that's going to be in per gram of fat, and then you've got about 4 calories that are going to be in your grams of carbs. And so if you've got someone that's 175 pounds, then their macros, as far as them wanting to maintain the muscle mass that they put on, but also be in a deficit, they need to be intaking anywhere from 130 to 135 grams of protein. Their fats need to be anywhere from 50 to 56 grams of fats, healthy fats. So we don't want to be incorporating a lot of processed foods. So stuff like avocados, nuts, a healthy olive oil or something to cook your food in, stuff like that. Avocados, healthy fats for us to kind of implement into our diet. And then as far as carbs go, his or her carbs need to be anywhere from 165 to 175, and that's going to give us a relative range of anywhere from 1700 to 1800 calories. And so just kind of understanding a little bit more about what needs to be implemented if you're trying to really go down that route as well. But let's say for example you've got somebody that wants to gain a ton of weight, and somebody that's like me, that's an ectomorph. Also knowing that about your body as well, knowing that and a difference between ectomorph, endomorph, mesomorph, what the body types are. Endomorphs are a lot more people that are going to be heavier set anyways, that have a relatively slow metabolism, that have a very easy time gaining weight but have a relatively hard time losing weight. Somebody that is that's a mesomorph. And endomorph is somebody that can kind of go both ways. Their body is able to adapt appropriately depending on if they're trying to gain weight or lose weight. And then you've got people who are ectomorphs, who are like me, who it is almost impossible to gain weight, which is not the best. So understanding your body type as far as that goes as well, and then also just being on top of programming, make sure that you're working out as well towards the goals that you're trying to set for yourself. So I'm not going to be somebody that's going to do a bunch of cardio because I'm trying to gain weight. If I'm trying to gain weight, I don't want my base metabolic rate to be super high all the time, because it already is super high all the time. So there's really no need for me to do cardio unless I'm in prep. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the time to lose the most body fat. Working out in the morning, and then making sure that I'm getting a good meal afterwards, and then keeping up with that protein synthesis for the rest of the day. So eating every 2.5 hours or so. When it comes to being in a deficit though, you do want to have a little bit more of a higher protein status, not too ridiculously high, but more of a maintenance intake as far as protein goes. Your carbs do relatively need to be low, but not so low to the point where you're depleting your body. See, your body wants to eat. So what I was talking about with the protein synthesis is your body's only going to intake a certain amount of protein per time period for an extended period of time. So it's only gonna be able to digest and process roughly anywhere from 36 to 42 grams of protein every time you eat. And it's going to take about 2 to 2.5 hours in order for your body to really digest and metabolize that type of food. So not overloading your body with protein, because if it's not at the level to where it's able to absorb that much protein, it's just going to turn the excess grams into calories. And we don't want that, because that adds calories onto whatever we're trying to accomplish. So understanding a little bit more about, where's your muscle mass at, where's your body fat at, and what is what does that look like as far as mass goes? There's several gyms that are probably in y'all's areas. One Life does an in-body scan that you're able to go into. I know Bodyplex has one as well that you can go in. You can check literally what's your muscle mass, what's your body fat percentage, and what is your body fat mass at. And that gives you a lot more better of an idea to be able to say, okay, so this is where we're at as far as this goes. So this needs to be my proteins, this needs to be my fats, these need to be my carbs. So it's a lot easier to dial down a little bit more about how you're trying to go about your goals and knowing what tools to go from there. If you guys have any questions or any further questions about nutrition and or about programming, feel free to go ahead and send me a DM. My Instagram is pretty much, I'm active on that pretty much every single day, all day. So if you guys have any questions, do not hesitate to go ahead and hit me up. And if you'd like to go ahead and schedule something to where you can understand a little bit more about, you know, hey, where's my body fat percentage at? What do my numbers really look like so I can move forward? Go ahead and hit me up from that as well. And DM me the word OnStart. That way we can go ahead and start the ball rolling to, you know, getting you towards where you want to go.